I guess I'm just overwhelmed to be able to stand in front of you again this year. When we left North Dakota last year, we had the privilege of Bill Helming telling us that that was the best conference that he had attended in the 45 years that he had been attending conferences. And, you know, how are we going to be able to top that? Well, I think that the boys from Missouri have done a good job of trying to do just that, and we hope that when you leave here tomorrow that you'll feel like this was just as good a conference as we had up there, or maybe better. I think that the Lord provided us a great day yesterday, didn't He, for the day of the tour. You know, we worry about that. What would have happened yesterday if it would have been raining? You know, how could we have, you know, done the same thing that we did? I mean, it just would have really messed things up. And, you know, we just had a great day. I know in North Dakota, you know, we tolerated the heat up there, but Missouri came across with a really nice day for us here. So I guess other things that I would like to make sure that, you know, it took a lot to put that together yesterday, and Doug Peterson was a big part of getting that done here in Missouri. Doug's part of our committee, but I guess I'd like to give Doug a special thanks. You know, to get those speakers there, to get all the equipment that he needed at each of the places, to have the porta potties, to put together the food and everything, and it went so smooth. He had those 4 lines for dinner. I just thought that was great. And not only Doug, but John Wood had a lot to do with that too. John is here in Missouri. John has put a lot of effort into having this conference here, so I think we need to give John a special thanks too. The other people, I think that yesterday, I know from having sponsored or being hosted to a tour like that, you know, Greg Judy and Luke Lingemeyer, you know, that's not easy to invade someone's farm with 250 to 300 people, you know, and all the cars that come there and so forth, and that to have that, there's a lot of preparation time that goes into hosting one of those tours, and so I thank both Greg and Luke for being willing to do that and to share their passion that they have for the grass-fed industry with all of us, because I think when I got back in the bus that I was on, I mean, it was just a buzz with different things that we had learned there, and that's exciting to have that happen. That's what this conference is all about. This is, you know, it's a conference for us to learn. You know, each one of us have a story to tell that are here because we're special individuals. You know, that, you know, and I don't mean, I'm not trying to brag about myself or any of you, but I do think that Terry Gomford used to tell me that, you know, every time we went to one of these meetings, or he had a meeting there, he said he wanted everybody to introduce themselves because each person had a special, there was something special about the way they did things, you know, and they could tell the story. They could stand up in front of the group. Maybe some of them weren't willing to do that, but, you know, they had a story that was there to share. And we may not do it in front of a group, but we'll do it one-to-one. And that's what we're about. That's why we started this, so that we can network together. Because when we're back at home, we're kind of that oddball. Everybody else is, you know, they're corn, soybean producers, or they're traditional cattle producers, or whatever it is. You know, we're the ones that are probably a little bit different. And here we have that chance to come together as a group of people of like mind. We're here about, you know, that's what's so special about us, because we're here not to just produce a product. We're here and to make a profit. We're here to produce a product that we know is healthy for our consumer. We're here to produce a product that we know is going to take care of our soil, our land, that gift that God has given us. We're going to use that sunlight that He gave us. We're going to use that soil. We're going to use the microbes that are in the soil. We're going to leave that land better than it was before. We're not going to be part of the problem that's causing cancers, the heart diseases, and those. We're going to be part of that solution. And that's what I hope that we do here. That's why we bring these speakers here, so that, you know, they can share with you the knowledge that they have. It's hopefully, I guess one of the things I want you to do from each speaker is, Terry would always have us have a take-home thing, something that we could take home that we could use in our operation. So when each speaker gets up, when they're done, you write down something that you can take home, that you can implement at your own operations. Now, for each speaker, and I'm sure there may be 3 or 4 things with many of them, but at least put down one thing that you're going to take home and you're going to try to make a change in your operation from that. Before I ramble on too long, I guess I would like to thank each one of the individual people on our committee, or introduce those to you. I would like to have them stand. I don't know if we're all wearing these shirts or not, but that might be one way for us to stand out just a little bit. But on my committee, I guess those I would like to introduce to you are, we have Abe Collins. Abe, and we may not all be here this morning. We've got other duties that we're doing, different things, but Abe Collins comes to us from Vermont. Abe, are you here?
He's on a conference call.
He's on a call, okay. Dr. Alan Williams from Mississippi. And if they're not here, that's fine. You'll know these people. You saw some of them last night. We have Doug Peterson from here in Missouri. We have Clay Nash from Arkansas. And Clay has been on our committee from early on here too. We have Gabe Brown from North Dakota over here. We have Jason Roundtree, who had earlier commitments, who isn't able to be here, but Jason Roundtree is from Michigan and will be hosting this next year when we're in Michigan up there. John Wood from here in Missouri. Todd Churchill from Minnesota. And Josh Dukart from North Dakota. So this is our committee, and a special person that we hired this year, the only person who gets anything out of this, and she doesn't get big pay, but Kathy Richburg, back here in the back, has just been terrific. We as the committee just thank her so much. It's made our life a lot easier, because each of these committee members are very busy people. I'm just humbled to be a part of this, to have such an outstanding group of people surround me to help me put this conference on. And Kathy has just made that a lot easier for all of us. We just really appreciate that. Just a little history about the Grassfed Exchange. It was a vision that I had back in 2009. I went to a very special friend of mine, my mentor, who is no longer with us, and I'm sorry that it still bothers me. You know, because Terry Gompert, most of you or a lot of you know who Terry was, and we're privileged today to have Terry's wife and his daughter with us in the audience. And I know that when I talked to Connie before, when she was going to come, she said so many of you people had been at her house, you know, and she maybe didn't get to meet you then, but Terry would talk about different people, and she'd say, well, were they here ever? Yeah, Terry would say, yeah, we had them in our house, you know, or we had supper with them, or we did this or that. And she just said, this will give me an opportunity to come. And so maybe if you could, Connie and Kate, would you care to stand up so people know who you are? And if you see them during the conference here, and you know Terry, and you have some memories about that, they would like to hear the story that you have, what your memory is of Terry. So, you know, I guess like I said, I maybe ramble on too long here. I'm sorry about that, but I just feel that this one thing I want you to know about the conference too. We started it out as when I started that in 2009. We did it in we started first conference was in Yankton, South Dakota, just across the river from Nebraska, thinking that this was, Terry had started a group of producers that started to think out of the box a little bit and to show us all different ways to start out with rotational grazing. It came to holistic management and taking care of the soil and our livestock and many other things. But there was quite a group of us in northeast Nebraska, so I thought, well, we'll just get together. And when we had the first conference, we had at least as many people or maybe more there. We did try to have a sale with that year, you know, something new, different. it kind of was a buzz around the grass-fed industry, so we maybe had some extra people. Then we went to Norfolk, Nebraska, right close to home to us. That was easy for us to put it on there. We did it there for 3 years, but we had people coming from all over the United States coming to the conference, so we felt like that maybe we should spread this around a little bit. So that's what we're trying to do now, where it has become more of a national conference. It's not just a state conference. This year, when I looked at the registration before I came down here, we have 40 states, people who are here from 40 states. We have 3 provinces in Canada who are represented here. You know, that's been the case each year. We've been 35, 36, 37 states. This year we're a few more, even though we maybe not be quite as many people as we had in North Dakota. We're probably somewhere in the range of 325, 350 people here this year. So just to give you an idea of where we come from. So when we're that few, you know, there aren't that many other people. You know, we may have 5 people from California, 3 from Oregon, you know, maybe 7 from Nevada or something like that. You know, it's not that many people that were out there, so we're just kind of scattered. We don't get to meet those other people. So this is just kind of a neat time to be able to share that together. I guess at this point, I could go on because I'm pretty excited about the Grassfed Exchange. I'm privileged to be able to be a part of this, and I hope that each year continues to be even better. And we'd certainly like all of your input. If you have some ideas or suggestions, put those down on the evaluation form, because that's what we're going to use to develop the next year's conference. And we've already started. We've got a lot of the work done for next year's conference. And we knew that at the end of last year, that we need to be able to let you know where next year's conference is going to be at. And as this grows, maybe we can have a regional conference. There's even an idea of doing that so that we can have in different areas. So it's just, it's pretty exciting what it's turned out to be. And I guess, I hope that this is something that will be beneficial to each of you. So at this point, I would just like to introduce to you someone that Terry had told me. He said that it so happened that 2 days before Terry had his heart attack, Terry and I were in one of my pastures, and I knew Terry was going to retire in July, and Terry was concerned about he said, because of Terry being such an out-of-the-box thinker, he said, you know, I may be fired before I get to retire, because he was doing some things that were, you know, he had different ideas than what the normal university person did have, and we appreciate that in him. But anyhow, he said there was a young man in North Dakota that came to one of his holistic management training classes that he felt had the ability to take up those reins as Terry retired. And that young man is Joshua Dukart, and you saw Josh there just a little bit ago. Josh has been a huge asset to our committee. I was privileged to ask him to see if he would be a part of this, and I know he's a busy man. He does consulting, and he's worked for the North Dakota Grazing Land Coalition and up there, but you know, we're just privileged to have him, and so Josh is going to be kind of the person taking care of things going from here, and I've spoke long enough, so I'll let Josh take it from here. Thank you much.
Oh, good morning. Thank you for the intro, Wayne. That's quite the intro for someone who's just going to be a moderator for you this morning. But I am appreciative of my interaction with Terry over the years, and feel pretty good that I had that opportunity, and am still appreciative and humbled by it today. You know, a conference like this takes a tremendous amount of commitment and time, energy, creativity, all of those sorts of things, especially when you have a conference each year that gets a little better, and it raises the bar higher and higher. It becomes a greater challenge every year to figure out how we're going to meet that next higher standard or threshold. But I believe that we're on a good track to do that this year based on the wonderful tours that we had yesterday, and I think we're going to keep that momentum moving today. But I would be remiss to not recognize that we need support and we utilize support. We're very appreciative of the support we get from outside sources. And if you have your booklet with you, and even if you don't, I just want to recognize some of that support that we've received that's very instrumental in making this conference what it is. So at this time, I'd like to recognize our sponsors. Our gold sponsors this year were Farm Credit and the Missouri Department of Conservation. Our silver sponsors were Strauss Brands and Gratitude Railroad. Our bronze sponsors were Light City Research in association with Michigan State University. Missouri Forage and Grassland Council in conjunction with the Grazing Lands Conservation Initiative, or GLCI. PGG Seeds, as well as the Vinegar Guys, Walnut Creek Seeds, and Agri Energy Resources round out our bronze sponsors. We also have food sponsors. It's not just money, it is truly holistic as we put this together because it's about value, okay? And our food sponsors definitely bring some things to the table. Thousand Hills Cattle Company, Strauss Free Range Products, Honored Prairie, Joyce Farms, and U.S. Wellness Meats are all companies that are providing your food for you, or that already have and will be providing food for you over the next couple of days. So we truly appreciate that. And although Wayne recognized these already, our tour stops yesterday are sponsors in their own right, because they basically sponsor their place for us to tromp around on and ask questions. And it's a certain amount of exposure that they get, and a certain amount of here's what I do, and here's how I do it, and here's what's worked, and here's what hasn't worked. And it's those things that we learn a tremendous amount from. So as you look around the room, you see the different banners. Those are representative of the sponsors, the assistance, and the help that we've had to put this conference on, and we truly appreciate all of those sponsors. At lunch, you will also see table tents that will list the different sponsors on there. And if you see them, please thank them for us as well. And you will see a number of them also as exhibitors in our trade show, which is actually just down the hall and then back in the expo part of the building. So please visit those during breaks, during lunch, at those times. So if you'd help me, please let's give a round of applause to all of our sponsors. In addition to that, just to take care of one other thank you I want to make, and that's to the University of Missouri. We've received assistance and help from them as well for the technical part of, setting up, trying to create as good a presentation style atmosphere for you here, registration, and a number of other coordination items throughout the process. We owe a big thank you to them as well. A few housekeeping items, and this is something I've forgotten, but if you have your cell phone with you, which most of us tend to do, please put it on silent, vibrate, or better yet, turn it off, because I know you're not going to want to miss what's going to happen here for the next couple of days. And if you do need to take a call, please step outside to do that. There are restrooms if you go back this way and out those doors and towards the expo part of the building. There are restrooms back there, as well as on this corner. If you go out towards the registration desk, there's restrooms available for you there as well. Again, the trade show is back there. We really encourage you to spend the time that you can with the exhibitors. The trade show and that sort of thing is growing each year. We're not only bringing in more people to the conference, but more exhibitors, more sponsors, and I think we're really starting to build some critical mass moving forward, and I think that's really exciting. With that too, we have, if you notice, if you were on the tour yesterday, you have evaluations in front of you, and in place, we will actually have a specific, you can fill those out any time, but in order to not miss anything, I actually have some time set aside here this morning that you can fill those out. That is very important feedback, as Wayne said, to give us ideas for the future and let us know how yesterday went, and we've gotten some really positive feedback feedback so far, but we're always interested in suggestions. So at this time, I would, we have a real quick presentation that we want to offer straight here from the state of Missouri, and I'd like to have Fred Martz come up. He's with the Missouri Forage and Grassland Council here in Missouri to give you a little bit of a welcome and tell you what they're doing.
Thank you, Joshua. Yes, welcome to Columbia. I'm a hometown guy, and we really are glad to see Grassfed Exchange come to Columbia, Missouri. I'm going to talk to you just a moment about three things. First thing I would like to tell you, though, is that Missouri and the university has a long heritage in grassland agriculture. Back in the 30s, we were influential in bringing Korean Lespedeza and tall fescue to the Midwest, and a lot has happened since then. One of our major efforts today in Missouri is to replace the endophyte toxic fescue in Missouri with non-toxic fescue, and this is really so important to pasture finishing because toxic fescue is just not the feed we need for grazing finishing cattle. First thing I want to tell you about is Missouri Forage and Grassland Council has a brand new website, and that's what you're looking at on the screen. If you Google, everybody Googles everything today. If you Google Missouri Forage and Grassland Council, you will be able to contact this website. Our goal is to have this website become one of the go-to sources for grassland information, grassland agriculture. The second thing I want to tell you about is a publication that we just came out with. The reason I'm talking as an add-on is because 2 weeks ago I didn't know I had anything to tell you about. This is a publication that you can find on these two website addresses. It is a guide, a producer's guide for the production of grass-finished beef. It's 50 pages in length. It has information about production of pasture-finished beef, but it also has information about marketing. It has some spreadsheets about profitability, and it has a couple of paragraphs about liability insurance. That's one of the last things that we think about, and when we put our products out in front of the public, we are exposed and we need to consider some liability insurance. So these are the two websites. If you will visit the Missouri Forage and Grassland Council booth back at the Exhibit Center, you will find some display copies of this publication, and you will find some little cards that you can stick in your pocket, take home with you with these websites on them, and you can soon look this up if you want to do that. The last thing I want to mention to you, I want to compliment the exchange for remembering Terry Gumpert. I guess I became acquainted, Mrs. Gumpert, with Terry when he attended one of our early grazing schools at the Forage Systems Research Center, where I was superintendent for 7 years. Terry, as you all know, was always looking for new things, new ways of thinking, and new things to do. And I emphasize new things to do because he was a doer. And I really am pleased and proud of Exchange for recognizing him with an award. With that, thank you very much. Looking forward to a very good conference.